My name is Jay, Jay. I spy with my little eye. Mindset, a marketing podcast. Click, click, quick. Usain Bolt fast. Success leaves clues, no excuses. Feed your mind, enjoy the juices. Add value, profit expected. Now I exit just like Brexit, like wow.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Marketing and Mindset podcast. Today we have our expert, Adrian Shepherd, all the way from Japan. He is Asia's #1 productivity expert. He is the author of Amazon bestseller, The One Thing That Changed Everything. He is also the creator of the One Byte productivity system. And also, he is a contributor in Inc. publication, Huffington Post, and he wrote a fantastic piece today, actually, that I advise you to check out. Please welcome Adrian Shepherd. Oh, brilliant! So, just in case you're wondering why the music, tell us where you are actually now, Adrian.
I'm in Japan.
Okay. Konnichiwa, o genki desu ka?
Konbanwa.
Konbanwa, chokko chigao ne. So yeah, I also spent a bit of time in Japan. Just tell me a bit about your story in Japan.
You mean how I got here?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Well, I went to school in the States.
All right.
And when I graduated, I was looking for a job, and I tried the market there.
Okay.
And things just didn't work out for me.
Yeah.
I'm actually an English citizen, so it was pretty hard to get a visa.
Okay.
So I decided to try my luck in Japan.
Oh, brilliant.
I really enjoyed teaching at the time, and so I thought, what better place to get started than in Japan?
Oh, brilliant.
I've been here on a study abroad program, so I knew what it was like, and so it wasn't going to be much of a culture shock anymore for me, and I thought I would give it a go.
Oh, brilliant.
It's been almost 24 years now. So.
Oh, brilliant. Was that the JET program? The JET or?
No, actually, I just came here by myself.
Oh, fantastic. And we see that in terms of the slight shift came with when you picked up a copy of Rich Dad, Poor Dad and Awaken the Giant Within by Anthony Robbins. Tell me a bit about how that shift happened.
Well, I was teaching for about 6 years.
Okay.
And everything was going great. I was saving a decent chunk of change every month.
Okay.
And, I liked it.
Yeah.
I was happy and content.
Okay.
Like many people are in their work. But I felt, maybe I'm destined for a little bit more. And
okay.
Somebody turned me on to this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki.
Mm.
And I read through it and I thought, wow, I'd never really thought about it like that. There was this one example where a musician makes a CD once,
mm-hmm.
and then he sells it for 30 years.
Okay.
And I thought, hey, wait a minute here, because everything I'd been doing would be, my time
mm-hmm.
for money. So
mm-hmm.
I work an hour, I get an hour's pay.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem with that is I have to keep working the hour.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You see, whereas the artist, maybe spends 1 year creating the CD, but then he sells it for the next 40 years. And that's something I couldn't do in my position. I thought,
mm-hmm.
So I started, looking for opportunities, and I got into business with a partner
okay.
On another venture. And we ran into trouble quite early on. I think neither of us were really prepared for the adventure we were on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I started picking up other books.
Okay.
And Rich Dad, Poor Dad, I picked up a few of his other books, Cash Flow Quadrant,
yes.
Prophecy, and real estate investing or something like that.
Yeah.
I forgot. And he turned me on to other books, so I started picking up those books.
Yeah.
And it just kind of snowballed from there. And I picked up Tony Robbins' book one day, and it's like yo thick.
Oh yeah.
It's not one of the books that I would recommend to people just because you got to be in the right mood, and
no, of course.
Can I even get through it?
Yeah.
500 pages is a heck of a
yeah.
It's a tomb, really.
Okay.
So, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to give it a go.
Yeah.
Robert Kiyosaki had recommended it, so I went okay. And he said something in that really got me thinking, and that was the concept of how we control our feeling by our language.
Okay.
And I thought, what? that doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah.
But I thought, I'm kind of the curious kind of guy. So I started testing it in my life. So every time I got really upset, instead of saying I'm pissed or I'm some other choice words, I started saying things like I'm upset or I'm irked. And I couldn't believe the change because it had an emotional connection just by changing the words. So I realized, wow, I can really change a lot in my life, but just by doing very simple things. And from there, I just, I guess I got the bug, and I just kept reading and listening to pretty much everything I get my hands on. And I was doing personal development at first, so Zig Ziglar, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, Wayne Dyer, all those guys. I just went through nearly everything they've got, or everything I could get my hands on anyway. And then I finally started to apply these things in my life, and I noticed one thing. I kept coming back to the one concept, and that was time. And that's where I am today.
Brilliant.
I've been doing that for about 5 years now.
The one thing that we can't get back is time,
That's
That's ultimately it. Tell me then, I'm in Kyoto right now. I happen to bump into you in elevator. Give me your elevator pitch in terms of what do you do? Like in a sentence, like you got 10 seconds to tell me.
10 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a excuse me. I'm a productivity expert who helps people boost productivity, reduce stress, and basically improve their lives.
Fantastic. Now we're moving on to the meat and drink. Your signature system, the one bite system. Tell us a bit about that, because I know there's 3 steps to it. So just tell the viewers maybe what those steps are, and then after the step, just maybe say what's contained inside it.
Well, people like something neat and compact.
Yes.
If we just say, hey, I've got 150 different techniques to learn, people go, whoa, that's a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll never be able to remember 150 techniques. That's too many, So I wanted to bring things, down to their most basic. And I for a while, I was thinking about what's the best way to set this up. And it hit me recently, actually. And I came up with this concept of like a pyramid.
Okay.
And 3 sides. The base being the internal, and then the 2 sides, external and support.
Okay, so something like that. Okay. That's brilliant.
Yeah,
okay.
3 parts, right? Yeah. And so the first part, of course, is the internals, everything to do with your mind and your body.
All right.
You got to take care of those 2 parts, and that's mindset, breathing, habits, personal development, attitude. All those things are contained in that section.
Yeah.
Then you've got external.
Could I stop you there for a second, because your article today was actually about the breathing, and not breathing from your chest, but breathing from your stomach, and that's a technique that a lot of people use to maybe control their state, and even traders use it, because in moments of high stress, maybe the body becomes hijacked, and so you breathe from the chest. But when you breathe from the diaphragm, you breathe, you can actually sort of kind of calm yourself down, can't you? Yeah,
absolutely. And it's something that I use more and more these days, and especially when working with clients. Yeah. Just people don't think that breathing is that powerful, but it really is. It when it's done properly, it can really change your entire state and your mood. In my article, I think I talked about how if you close your eyes and you bounce and then take 10 deep breaths, it's very hard to be thinking about anything else. I mean, you lose your balance the first time you do it. Yeah, I'm serious.
Sorry, can we actually do that right now? In terms of can you talk me through it? Maybe the viewers watching, I wouldn't mind. Talk me through it. So I'm your client. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, basically, I'd ask you to just stand up.
Stand up.
I mean, so I don't know.
Okay.
Okay.
Listen. Yes.
Sure.
All right.
Okay. Then what I want you to do is I want you to just put your legs just about shoulder width apart.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. And then what I'm going to ask you to just hold on a second here is I'm going to ask you to bounce.
Bounce.
Just
like this?
Bounce in place.
Okay, I'm bouncing. Yep.
Then close your eyes.
Yep.
And then take 10 deep breaths.
Yes, I'm done. Yeah, I'm done.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Now you should feel a whole lot of weight lifted from your shoulders. And, you did very well actually not losing your balance. I'm impressed for your first time.
No, I feel amazing. Honestly, I really do feel, and I hope you tried that. What is it about bouncing and doing that? That's amazing.
Well, the thing is, if you don't bounce,
Yeah.
Your mind can wander.
Okay.
Your mind will keep on the stress of the day, of the things that you're doing.
Yeah.
By bouncing, you actually have to keep a little bit of focus on what you're doing, and to even keep counting.
Okay.
10 breaths.
Yeah.
You'll lose track and stuff like that. So you've got to really focus on breathing. If you take out the bounce,
Yeah.
you don't have that, and your mind will wander, and you can't get the full impact. So you might oxygenate your body, but you're not completely releasing your mind from the stress of the day.
Okay. So in terms of your clients, you'd say maybe before you start your day, would you recommend this, or if they're going through a difficult moment, like what would you say exactly?
Well, to be honest, I actually learned this technique from another well-known speaker. You may have heard
Brendan
of
Bouchard. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's fabulous.
Okay.
But he recommends, every hour doing something like this. I just when you're feeling a little bit tired,
Yeah.
a little bit weak, maybe get to start the day. Just our eyes, we use them so much.
Yes.
Once we get started from morning to night, they're just kind of open and they're just working, and there's a lot of strain,
Amazing.
especially now today because of all the screens
Yeah.
that we have in our lives. iPad, iPhone,
Yes.
Kindle, computer, whatever.
Yeah.
So you give yourself you're like a little rest. Give your eyes a little rest.
Yep.
Give your mind a little rest, and just get the oxygen back into your body. Just it doesn't take more than a minute, and it's remarkable.
That's amazing. That one takeaway was worth people tuning in today. So tell me about part number 2. So that's the base at the bottom. Tell me about the other side. What's the next side now?
Okay. So the next side is your external.
Okay.
And you've got, of course, your office, and you have certain control over that, and some things you can't control, of course, because it's maybe not your office.
Yep.
And the other side, of course, is your desk. That may be at your house,
Okay.
or in your library. Maybe you've got a nice library or something like that. But you can control that. And what you want to be doing there is just really keeping things neat, organized, and simple.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of the book by Marie Kondo. She wrote The Magic of Tidying Up.
Okay.
And it sounds really simplistic again. I mean, breathing is simple, right? I mean, tidying up is simple. But, we amass a lot of junk.
Yep.
We all do. Papers, little, notes, things we pick up, doodads, and they just, they clutter everything. And so when you're trying to find something, it's just hard to find it.
Yeah.
So by simplifying, getting rid of things you need, you get to speed up the process of finding things, which is remarkable how much time you waste looking for crap.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds silly, but the first thing I did after reading that book was actually rearranging my underwear drawer. I mean, underwear, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you think like who cares? But I thought, I'm going to try it. And the reason I decided to do it was because about 10 years ago, I walked into, I think, an Armani shop to buy some clothes.
Yeah.
And, I wanted to see their underwear because I just wanted to see what they had.
Yeah.
And they pull out this drawer, and, they're each, not laying flat, like where you just kind of like pull them out. No, they're each, individually rolled.
Oh, wow.
And, you can look, looking down on them, there's like little pods.
Amazing.
And I'm like, and I remembered that image, and I thought, that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't think about it for myself.
Yeah.
But so my underwear was just kind of stacked, together. And I thought, what I'm going to do? I'm going to change that. And so what I did is I got one of those dividers.
Okay.
And I just rolled up my underwear. And wow, first of all, you open up the drawer, it looks nice.
Yeah.
I mean, you feel good when you open it. Like, that looks really nice.
Yeah.
And when you choose your underwear, it's really easy to know which one you want to wear.
Wow.
Because you see it, because you got the vertical view.
Okay.
And, to be honest, my wife made fun of me when I first did it. But after she saw it, she's like, I'm doing that.
Brilliant.
And so she went and did it too. Yeah. So
Brilliant.
it's a simple thing, but these little things, we get frustrated.
Okay.
When we're in a rush looking for
sure.
Our favorite shirt or socks or this or that. And they just add up. Little things add up. And so you want to simplify things as much as possible at your office and at home.
So, how often do you recommend people staying on top of their surroundings? Because, obviously it can be very quick, and then maybe the office that you tidied up in the morning or the space you tidied up gets messy. So does it have to be daily? Like, because, it happens with me. I tidy my car up, and then all of a sudden, a few people come in, maybe I've had a sandwich, and then it gets... So how often do you say to monitor the system? Like, how often? Yeah.
I think weekly is good. Monthlies, you're letting it slide too much. And it's easy for it to slide to 2 months.
Okay.
Because, let's say the time comes, you're supposed to clean it, but something comes up, that gets pushed off another month, you see. If you do it daily, you might get frustrated and think, this is too much. I don't want to, mess with this.
I see.
So,
weekly.
a weekly thing is kind of a good time to just make sure everything's in order. And it's not too demanding. And if you miss it 1 week, okay, it's not the end of the world, because you got next week coming. So,
brilliant. Fantastic. So tell me who you work with. Do you work with many corporations now, or you mentioned a client that you did the breathing technique with? Who do you work with in general?
Basically, I work with executives and managers, doctors, lawyers.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
A whole variety of people.
Okay.
Here in Japan.
Okay, so this podcast is obviously to do with the mindset, but also it's to do with marketing. So would you mind telling our viewers a bit about how you find your clients, or how you market to actually, find executives that you might want to work with?
Well, that's not as easy as it might sound.
Yeah.
First of all, my Japanese is not fluent.
Okay.
So it's usually by recommendations a lot now. I've been here 24 years, so I know people.
Oh, brilliant.
And I have a few contacts, and so it's kind of word of mouth, really, a lot of the time. Yeah. But I do write, as you said earlier, in a lot of publications, so I try and share that with as many people as I can, and that's where I get some people contacting me that way. It's a great way, if you want to get some exposure as well as get some Google rankings, is to write for online publications. It's an absolutely fabulous way. I think you do that as well.
Yeah, I do. Yeah,
and it's an absolutely fantastic way to get your name out there, I think.
Okay.
One thing I will say I've just started doing, I've decided to make the leap, and that is do LinkedIn videos.
Okay. That's what I've started doing. I've started doing that as well. Yeah, LinkedIn videos. Yeah,
I think it's that's a business platform, and it's not as goofy and wild as Facebook. It's more serious, and people want to get knowledge and information. So today was my first video, so you guys can check it out. It's just a little intro about me and my life.
Yeah. What I found is quite a cool technique is to do a Facebook Live, and then download that Facebook Live and upload it to LinkedIn, because on the Facebook Live is more interactive. You can flip the screens round to your face, to a board, but maybe LinkedIn isn't as advanced as Facebook. So that's quite a good way of having the content on Facebook, on LinkedIn as well.
Fabulous. I haven't tried that. I might be able.
Yeah. So my next question is, can you tell us a few client success stories in terms of how you've helped some clients recently, in terms of, where they were and, your technique, and then how they progress along the line there?
Well, unfortunately, it's not just it's not overnight.
No.
Success.
No. Yeah, it's a process.
I wish it were.
Yeah.
The thing is basically everything I've learned about personal development and productivity is it's consistent application of the concept.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, a lot of people that I work with just have high levels of stress.
Okay.
They're in high tension environments, and so they're a little overwhelmed.
Okay.
They're not sleeping well. They're struggling to get things that they need to get done, and they come to me with a lot of excuses.
Okay.
It sounds really bad to say that, but I think nearly all of us have those excuses. I don't have time. My family situation is a mess, or my work's a mess, and I can't get enough sleep. I can't do this, and you don't understand my situation. That's what I hear a lot of people saying, you don't understand my situation, or I can't do that. There's in my system, I have, about 60 different techniques, but so many people dismiss them saying, well, that won't work for me, or that won't work for my situation. A lot of times it's not really true. So, I mean, nearly every one of my clients is the same way. They come with a situation that they're basically, stuck with. They're working on, I don't know, let's say 50% productivity level. I mean, really, they're just overwhelmed, and they don't have a good relationship with the family as well, because they're devoted so much time to work to get everything done. And when I listen to them explain the situation, really, I can just see that they're just wasting so much time on things that they don't need to be wasting time on. That's the bottom line.
Like what?
And so, it's the little things, things that distract them. They have, everybody, I think, pretty much everybody in the world probably has one or two things they really should be doing. That, I mean, it's the Pareto's principle that, 20% of things we do equal 80% of our results, right? And you can take that one step further, because if you apply Pareto's principle to Pareto's principle, you can go even deeper. So, for example, 4% of your work will equal 64% of your results.
Oh, brilliant. So breaking it down even further,
Break it down. And 1% equals, I think, 52% of your productivity.
Oh, brilliant.
So if you can find that 1%, you're, and you focus there, you're getting huge return on your investment.
Oh, brilliant.
Because you're investing, only on one thing, and you're getting huge results back. But a lot of people, what they do is they end up working on the 80% that gets them 20% of the results. And one of the things that I think nearly all my clients struggle is email and overwhelm, and responding to things that they don't really need to. People love to, play hero. They get an emergency email sent to them, and they just jump on it right away. But the problem with doing that is you train people that you're the kind of person that will be able to do everything at the drop of a hat. And the problem is, when you're free, you can do that. But when you're not, you can't. And that will frustrate people when you can't. So you got to make sure you don't, build up your reputation to the point where that people think that you're just God, where you can, of course you can do it. And you start getting just, people pile stuff on, and because there's a limit to everyone's ability. And so, anyway, but I digress. I mean, the bottom line is you really need to be to figure out what that one or two things you need to be doing today. It goes back to Ivy Lee's, to-do list.
Brilliant. What's your biggest business challenge? You're used to fixing it for people. People seek you out as the expert, as the authority. What's your biggest business challenge?
Well, when working with clients, I think my biggest challenge is changing their habits. I mean, people have bad habits. And to break that habit, it's tough, because it's been going on for 20 years, or even more sometimes, since childhood. Changing someone's diet is one of the toughest things, because they like what they like. And it may be really, hurting their productivity level, high fat or starch and things like that. You need to just have I live in Japan, so I'm lucky, because a lot of people eat a healthy diet, but some people, they're just eating just the wrong types of food, and they don't realize the damaging effect it's having on them. Now, it's okay to, splurge, to enjoy themselves a little bit, but, you got to, don't want to go too far. So I think that's the biggest challenge, is taking people and really showing them that, first of all, these habits can be broken, but you just need to, first of all, believe that the process is possible. A lot of people just dismiss it when you come up with some very simple concepts. They just they say, okay, I'll do it, but really, they have no intention of really doing it, and you really have to keep them, put them on the spot. Sometimes almost embarrass them in a sense. It sounds bad to say that, but you want to show them, hey, look, you're really not doing what you're supposed to be doing. That's why you're not getting the results. And for adults to be, told off,
Yeah.
I guess. It's hard. I mean, some people, they're CEOs or high-level executives, and to be told off, like I'm like, it sounds like I'm
Yeah.
their dad,
Yeah.
saying, hey, come on now, get serious. And they're like, but it's
Yeah.
tough sometimes.
It's 100 years later. People, maybe, I'm not sure if we have the internet in 100 years or probably a super version of it, but they find your name. They read about you. What three things are they going to say about you as to the work that you've done contributing in the world?
Well, there's only two things I really want to be remembered for. I mean, when it comes down to it, I just want to be known for being a good dad, number one. I mean, I want to be someone that was there for my son, and so far, I think I've done a pretty good job. But I think any parent, I think that's the ultimate success story, that your child succeeds. And so, if my son is a success, then I think I've done my job. But besides that I just make a difference. I think I don't understand people who don't try and don't want to help other people. I just don't get it. I mean, we're all here on this journey together and on the spinning globe in the universe. We get 100 years, 80 years, 60 years, and some people only get 30 or 20 years to experience life. So shouldn't we do our best to help one another? If we all did that, I think I think a lot of people do. But the only problem is we just get caught up in trying to deal with life, that sometimes we struggle to be able to help other people. And some people never find their true talent. Early on, I found out that education was my talent. And so now I'm just educating people, but just on a different topic. I used to be an English teacher. Now I'm a time management guy. So that's all I want to be remembered for.
Arigatou gozaimasu. I want to say that I really appreciate, what you are giving out into the universe. I really appreciate your time today. I know it's late in Japan, and I really appreciate you. Could you tell the audience a bit about how they might keep in contact with yourself on the socials, and the best way to get in contact with you?
Well, sometimes it's pretty hard to find me on Facebook for some reason. I guess there's a lot of Adrian Shepherds out there, but you'll probably recognize my picture. I'm wearing a suit and this kind of head should give the way.
I think we've got the same haircut, sort of, at the moment.
And but maybe if on LinkedIn, I'm a LinkedIn/I Succeed book. You can find me.
Oh, brilliant.
Or you can just reach out to me directly through my website. My email's there. My website is www.adrianshepard.com. That's SHEPHERD. And if you just want the direct email, you can always contact me at info@isucceedbook.com, which was my first book. But that was me.
Oh, brilliant. Thank you ever so much. I know personally, me speaking with you, I've got a couple of insights that I'm gonna use for myself to take forward, and I wish you every success in terms of what you're doing, writing articles and helping people around the world.
Thank you so much. And I hope the best for you too.
Oyasumi nasai. Arigatou gozaimasu. Ganbatte ne. Good luck. Hai. Arigatou gozaimasu.